Welcome back. Violent anti-Israel and anti-Semitic protests continue to grow here on the homeland and overseas. Let's show you the videos coming out of Russia. Russia, of all places, where thousands of Muslims stormed a local airport yesterday searching for Jews. That's literally what they said. They broke through, look at them, an airport, even got onto the tarmac because they heard there was a flight coming from Israel that had Israeli refugees on it, and they wanted to get the Jews. Are you kidding me? You can faintly hear them yell, Allah Akbar, as the mob stormed the airport. Again, they made their way from the facility. There's inside. Look at this. Almost taking control of it. Out onto the tarmac. They even held like ticket people and baggage people, not hostage, but kind of held them and said, where are they? Where are the Jews? They injured more than 20 workers. The Russian National Guard and hundreds of security forces then got deployed to go in and take back control. You see how it's getting out of control? So for anybody out there that keeps saying, Dan, why are you being so pro-Israel? Why are you being so pro-war? I'm not being pro-war, you morons. I'm calling out people that are anti-Semitic scumbags. You can stand up for a people who are being wrongfully persecuted, and you don't have to defend their political leaders. I'm not saying I'm backing Bibi. Let's go to war, blow them all up. Yeah, let's lose more of our boys and girls in a war. Of course I'm not. I'm sticking up for Jewish people in Israel and around the globe. As I told you last week, there's only 16 million of them. There's 2.2 million Muslims on the planet. Billion, pardon me. Thanks for getting that right in my ear. Appreciate that. 2.2 billion. Big difference. And their hate is spreading globally and here at home more than ever. I've never seen this much anti-Semitic rhetoric in all of my days, and it's disgusting. And if you're on that side of it, you can go to hell. Period. Jewish students at Cornell University. Here's a couple kids who better get their act straight or they'll be going to hell. Upstate New York. Guess what happened? Jewish students had to hide in their rooms because pro-Palestinian students were threatening their lives. That's right, anti-Semitic death threats, even posted online on a student message board at the good old prestigious campus. Even the campus kosher dining hall was singled out. They threatened to shoot it up, massacre Jews. The despicable messages come just after 2 weeks. Remember that Cornell professor that we showed you? He was recorded just days after the October 7th slaughtering of Jews by Hamas by saying it was exhilarating in front of a big crowd of pro-Palestinian supporters on that campus. It's exhilarating. Really. The reason I bring all this up is because it's happening on Cornell, Harvard, you name it. These Ivy League schools just filled with these anti-Semitic and anti-American pieces of trash. That's all you are. I'm sorry, I'm not going to call you an American college student. I'm going to call you a POS. You all know what that stands for, right? Meantime, the home of a man who deployed doxing trucks in front of the homes and around businesses and throughout the city of Ivy League students who were actually making anti-Semitic remarks has his home swatted. That's right. This is a friend of ours. You know Adam Guillette, right? He's been on the program for 3 years. He's the president of Accuracy in Media. Well, Accuracy in Media, if you look behind Adam, we told you about this a couple weeks ago, he paid for some of these trucks, these digital billboard trucks, to drive around and dox those little bastards. Good for him. If you're going to call for the death of people simply because of their heritage, religious beliefs, for being Jewish, well then guess what? If you can do hate speech, why can't we post your face and name and say, look at the person giving the hate speech out, right? And so that's what Adam did. He doxed them. It's like making a social media post and saying, Jane Smith from blah, 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 Ohio said this. Say hi to her on Twitter. You know, whatever. He sent trucks around, letting them know, here's the anti-Semitic kids. So evidently, he got swatted twice now. Luckily, no one was home. You know what swatting is, right? Somebody dials 911, makes up a lie, a false report, and then police come. Here's the video. Luckily, he had one of those, I think, Ring cameras recording everything. Then police come, fully armed to the teeth, ready to take you out. Officers sent to his home twice this weekend. Why? Because some kid, most likely, called and said that Adam was holding a gun to his wife's head. And then the second time that he had already shot his wife. By the way, they weren't even home. They were out of the state. Joining us now to talk about this horrific ordeal that his family went through over the past 72 hours is the president of Accuracy in Media, Adam Guillette. And Adam, first and foremost, we're glad to hear that you, your wife, your family are okay. But point blank, to me, because this has happened to our good friend Marjorie Taylor Greene 3 or 4 times, this is an attempt to get you killed. Isn't that what swatting is? You make a report about someone in a home that did something most likely deadly to someone. So cops come with their SWAT team, their guns ready to go, and then you get killed because they think you're a bad guy.
That's exactly right. It's attempted murder. And it's so incredibly outrageous because all last week when I was talking to the corporate media about our activism at Harvard and Columbia, calling out and exposing the names of these student leaders. And by the way, we don't dox anyone. We never share their private phone numbers. We never share their addresses. We merely share their names that we get from their student newspapers. So if it's not doxing when the Harvard Crimson shares their name, it's not doxing when we take information from the Harvard Crimson.
Gotcha.
But in every one of those interviews, all of the media said, well, aren't you worried about violence that's going to come to these Arab students? Aren't you worried about violence? Meanwhile, I was assaulted when I was on Harvard's campus. They bashed our billboard with a brick. They spray painted it. They assaulted our cameraman. They threatened our young female truck driver. They are the violent ones. They try to kill people. They assault people. And their allies in the media try to pretend that they are the poor victims. It's disgusting.
Well, I stand with you, and I'm so glad that you pointed out the fact you didn't put out any personal information, so technically it's not doxing, right? Because I think the full definition, if you dox someone, is to give out their private information, calling them out. And all you did was say, Jane Smith, here's a pic, which again, you can find in any catalog on those Ivy Leagues that shows what kids go to school there. You can look online. You can go to their yearbooks. It's right there. Where were you guys, by the way, this weekend? You weren't even in the state. This happened where, by the way?
We were in Texas. This happened in North Florida, but thankfully we weren't home when either of those occurred. Because again, the wrong thing happens. You answer the door incorrectly, you wake up in the middle of the night with a gun to your head, and you move incorrectly, and you get shot and killed. These are the kinds of people that we're dealing with. And I think it's important for everyone to understand this isn't a fight merely of Jews versus Hamas and their sympathizers. This is the battle for Western civilization, and Israel is on the front lines of it. These people hate classically liberal values. They believe in totalitarianism and force, and Israel is merely on the front lines. Israel represents the only place in the Middle East where you could actually have elections and individual liberty, where you could actually have an LGBTQ club without getting thrown off the roof of a building. Yet for some reason, these deranged progressives in America, like at Berkeley Law, the LGBTQ clubs support the radical Palestinians who want them dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's so insane when you look at the kids, because most of them are, being led by adults, but these kids on college campuses that are being led around by these Marxist professors, and they're in the gay community sticking up for Palestine and Hamas, the freedom fighters. I'm going, you idiots realize they'll throw you off of a roof if you went over there and said, hi, I'm an American, I support you. By the way, I'm gay. They'd kill you. How stupid do you have to be? Adam, I want to talk about that video. Let's switch from the protest back to the video of his house and the cops coming in. Now, there's been a lot of speculation online because people are like, how did this cop know Adam's door code to get in? Do we have another gun safe situation where the manufacturer gave police your code? Or it's an inside job? Let's put all this to rest. Let folks know how they have your door code. You were just trying to save your door, right?
Yeah, well, gosh, thank goodness they had our door code. Otherwise, they would have bashed the thing in. And imagine what happens when your door is bashed in and you're out of state. It's not a great thing to have your door wide open on the floor. The code was given to them by someone else. I don't want to share who that person was because I don't want them to be targeted at all. But it's no great conspiracy. They thankfully got the code from someone else when they couldn't reach us at 1:30 in the morning Central Time. They used that to enter our home. We found out about it the first thing the next morning when that person called us and notified us about what happened. A mortifying way to wake up and incredibly
Yeah.
horrible for them to have to deal with that, and a shame and a waste of police resources that they had to deal with that twice in one weekend. We're going to do whatever we can to find out who these individuals were responsible for it, hopefully get them locked up for attempted murder, but also we're going to double down on the fight, because if we back down at all, it would only affirm to them that their tactics work, and they would use that against other people. I want them to realize that this will never work. It'll get the opposite reaction that they're hoping for.
You got it. Hey, at least the officer put your package inside. That was nice of him. Those are some good cops down in Florida. They're just doing their job. But again, folks, this just goes to show you, when you push back on them, they are willing to go to lengths. When all Adam was doing was exercising his right of freedom of speech by putting those pictures on billboards and saying, here's the kids who are anti-Semitic calling for death to Jews on these college campuses, and then they wish him death. They SWAT him. They call a SWAT team to his home to shoot him. Do you realize what we're dealing with, folks? Adam, I know you won't give up the fight. Neither will we. Stay safe, brother.
Thank you for having me. We'll have all the details of our next campuses at aim.org. Thank you always.
Yes, of course. Best to you and the wife and the family. Stay safe. Take care.